He's an internationally known web, mobile, and Internet of Things visionary, technology innovator, and published author. His industry experience includes tenures as technology evangelist, VP of Marketing, and CEO, including the co-creation of one of the most prolific and game-changing new industry standards for the World Wide Web, the W3C and IETF WebSocket standard. He is actively involved in the Silicon Valley startup community, advising entrepreneurs and startups on go-to-market, corporate, and product strategies. He serves as the Vice President, Cloud and Mobile Technology Strategy at IBM. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Jonas Jacobi.
That was exciting. Thank you guys for showing up and for coming to this conference. I'm super excited to be here. It's my first time in Bulgaria, so my experience so far has been overwhelming and fantastic. Anyway, so I have 9 minutes actually to finish off my talk. I actually had 15 minutes when we started, but we'll get through this pretty quickly. I think the talk itself is about what we can learn from certain new trends in the market, in particular cloud, Internet of Things, and AI, artificial intelligence. And what I wanted to sort of start off with is really to set the tone for these few minutes that we have together. This is something that I think, if you look at your surroundings, in your areas, you can look at the political climate, you can look at the cities that you're in, the governments, the large corporations, and anyone else, even you individually and personally. We tend to hold on to things, whether that is physical things or less physical things, for way too long, right? And what that does to us and our corporations and companies, and that comes to knowledge as well, is that we are holding back the opportunity to realize the future, right? And I've seen that over and over again, right? As soon as a new technology comes along, people resist, right? For one reason or another, right? And I saw that firsthand when we introduced something that was called the WebSocket standard. And it was a huge amount of push from the community that we wanted to introduce this to, because they were so used to a certain paradigm, which was called HTTP, that something that would change that completely was very strange to them, and they wanted to sort of push back. So it's important that we realize this. When you look at where you are and where you want to be, make sure to let go of the past to move on to the future, right? So that brings us into this specific topic, cloud computing, right? What's interesting with cloud computing is it's not that it's a new thing really, right? And to many of us, we've been involved in cloud computing for many years. And we can all credit Amazon for making it sort of the #1 priority for a lot of companies, right? But what's important to understand when we talk about cloud computing, it's the fact that it's table stakes. That means it's a minimum bar, that's a minimum thing that you need to have in your portfolio in order to succeed, right? Whether that's a large enterprise being the vendor or you as a consumer, right? Consumer meaning you have a company, you want to launch something, the majority of you are already launching your applications and services on the cloud somehow. So it's table stakes today. What's interesting with this is that the cloud computing era brought forward transformation, right? Some people call it a digital transformation. A lot of established companies are now going through a rapid attempt to transform their existing business into a more digital business. So there's a race to transform. The other thing that came along with the cloud computing area, which I think all of you here benefit from, and everyone actually benefit from, is that it lowers the bar to entry into the space of technology, whether that is a software company or something else. You want to offer something, a service to someone, right? Because if you go back 10, 15 years ago, in order for you to launch a service, you had to build up your own data center, right? So the cloud computing era brought forward an opportunity for companies like yourself, all of you here, to with very minimal investment, launch and test your product to see if it actually had a viable market, right? The other thing that we need to think about is that if you're looking at how the market is evolving, right, and it's a price war, which is a good thing, meaning that there's a race to the bottom, right? As soon as a company goes out with a lower price, everybody else try to chase after. And I think there are many factors to this, right? A, the market is growing faster than we can actually imagine, partially thanks to trends like Internet of Things, artificial intelligence. Anything that drives the volume of data is increasing the need for more cloud computing. And I think what that means to all cloud vendors is that you have to focus on what makes you different. And you all in here, I've seen the presentations, I was part of the jury looking at some of the companies. That's the key thing to succeed. We cannot all go down to zero in terms of revenue from our services, so we have to differentiate ourselves, right? That brings us into this. Okay, so IoT is supposed to be the next one of the big trends right now. Okay, it promises everything. There are even terms like Internet of Everything, right? And have you guys seen this? It's a smart brush. It's a connected hairbrush with built-in Bluetooth and camera. So when new trends come along, there's some ideas that come along. I don't know if I need a smart brush. I don't have too much hair, but there are things that will come along that we all deem as either successful or less so, right? This one actually won an award at the last CES show. Whether I think it's a good idea or not is irrelevant. It's a connected device, right? What's important, though, when we look at these things that are popping up, and I saw quite a few on display out there, which is exciting, is that we go through some form of evaluation of the market. And in this case, we call it the IoT Chasm, right? And if you're looking at it from the very beginning, when a new trend comes out, everybody's super excited. We're so fired up about all the devices, everything that we can do. You know, anything that we can come up with, whether that's connected cars to, you know, my ring, to my toilet, to my whatever, my house, right? We start off with this sort of honeymoon period. Everything is excited. And it's like coming to a new place. I'm here in Bulgaria, first time, I'm super excited, everything is fantastic. Say that I would stay here for a little bit longer, a couple of months. After a while, from where I come from, you know, it's not as familiar anymore. You know, the sausage doesn't taste like it does at home, and then you get a little bit frustrated and agitated. So you get into this little sort of dip. And that goes with technology as well, right? And after a while, we get over that and we move on and we get into, oh, no, it's really good. I like it here. Or I like the device, right? And as soon as they start pushing it further, we start realizing that, now I'm actually here. I'm committed. I'm not going to do anything else. This is my life, whether that is staying here in Bulgaria or actually committing to a technology device, right? Now I'm starting to look into other things. Security. One of the major concerns with Internet of Things is security. And if you're looking at a lot of startups that I've seen and a lot of companies that I see, they take security as sort of maybe something later, right? So there's an opportunity here for companies like yourself to consider that a market opportunity, right? So right now, the way I look at the market, especially around the IoT, is we're in that sort of confronting the deeper issue part of IoT, right? We're in that space where we're discovering that, someone can actually hack a Jeep Cherokee. They did that in the US, okay, great, awesome. You can now steer it off the road, right? So we're getting into those deeper issues. And as soon as we get through those, we get into the major adoption curve. Talking about adoption, right? This is one market that everybody talks about, connected cars, vehicles, right? If you look at the trend and you look at the market, I live in Palo Alto in Silicon Valley. We have more Teslas than I can care of. You know, it's just too many of them. You know, you drive anything else than a Tesla right now. It's a connected car. It's an exciting car, right? But if you look at the numbers, 250 million connected cars by 2020. It's 2017. We're only 3 years away, right? So the market for IoT, just in cars, is phenomenal. The question is, where do we go from here? What do we do next on the IoT side? How many of you seen Ollie, the car, the bus, the minibus? Has anyone seen this? A couple of people? Cool. So is this an industry disruption or revolution? Here's an opportunity for you guys. This is a 3D printed minivan. It's a self-driving minivan, and it has built-in AI so you can actually communicate with it. So you can actually talk to Ollie. You can walk on the bus, and you can have a conversation with the bus. And you can ask, where's a good restaurant? And the bus will actually take you to a good restaurant, if you like seafood, for example, right? This, if you think about it, hang on. Now technology is not just disrupting certain businesses. It's actually disrupting several other older, more established businesses. If you can 3D print a car, what's next? This is just the start. Now we're looking at manufacturing. Yes, we're looking at traffic planning. So we're looking at optimizing traffic flow, making it greener. Manufacturing is going to be, hey, maybe I can send you a blueprint, and you can build your own car. You can have your own printer. You can go down to the shop and get yourself a car printed, right? This is where we're heading, right? It's a revolution. Next thing, okay, so now we got into AI. And during the course of my stay here, people have brought up AI, artificial intelligence, as something to be worried about. And yes, there are some concerns about artificial intelligence, of course. But I think every time we hear something negative about artificial intelligence, it's coming from popular media. Right? The Terminator movie. That's the first thing people think about. Artificial intelligence, they think about Terminator. Man versus machine. But that's not how we think about it, right? We think about it slightly differently, right? Self-learning at scale is important. You want to build something that can actually teach itself and improve on its own. And okay, that's interesting. The other aspect of this is that it needs to have a reason with purpose. Okay, now we're talking about pretty much all AI. Nothing new and nothing separate with that. But when we talk about cognitive systems, we also mean that it should interact with humans naturally. You should actually not feel that there's a difference communicating with an AI than what it is to communicate with a regular human. Right? That's what we call cognitive computing system. What we have here, though, which we think is different, is that cognitive systems like this is augmenting humanity. It's augmenting human intelligence, right? It's not here to replace us, right? And there are many examples of that. Think about legal, right? You have thousands and thousands of books, right? One attorney cannot necessarily remember all the books, but they have a very good sense for how to communicate or understand how to read the law. But AI can actually get you all the data much faster. Right? At IBM, we've been working a lot with AI in healthcare, which is another part. AI can help doctors reach a decision faster, get access to more information faster than anything else in the market. Artificial intelligence, yes, should be monitoring that. Yes, as with anything, we should. But in this case, it's an opportunity to improve the life of many and save life of many, right? A colleague of mine said this, and I think this reflects everything, right? Cognitive systems do not think for you, right? We use cognitive systems to help us do research so that we can make better decisions. That's what it's all about, right? So what's next? What are we leading up to when it comes to AI, Internet of Things, cloud computing, etc., especially artificial intelligence? Well, so one thing that we're looking at is personas, of course. Now you need an AI that can actually separate from an old person with a young person. You might have a different device, right? You might have a teddy bear, and then you might have a robot that is helping an elder, right? So we're looking at personas. But what's important to know, right? The AI industry is evolving very rapidly right now. It's ripe for opportunities, absolutely. But today, to put together an algorithm that can do artificial intelligence is fairly straightforward. There's a lot of open source available that you can access to build your own artificial intelligence. So if you think you can win the race with algorithms, and yes, there's probably some IP in your algorithms, that's fine, but that's not how you're going to win the race. You're going to win the race with data, what you feed into that AI. And even data is now becoming easier to access through public media, tweets, Facebook feeds, etc. So we get a lot of free data already. So it's important that you monitor your data, make sure that you talk to your vendors, to your suppliers, to your clients. They have their own proprietary data. That's where the value is going to be. To finish off, and I think this comes along with this, actually, and which I think is important to take away from all of this. I mean, we can get into deep details about artificial intelligence, IoT, but I think it's all about change. You know, we can resist, we can push back, but innovation is always going to come and push and push and push. So rather than trying to push back, endorse it, just bring it in, right? The sooner you can take in new technology, new ideas, business models, the faster you will evolve as a company and as an individual, right? And you have to reflect over this statement, right? If you don't like change, you're going to like irrelevance a lot less, which is true. If you don't want change, eventually no one cares about you or your company anymore because the world has moved on, right? A lot of opportunities. I'm excited to be here. I'll be outside, so if you guys want to come and talk to me, feel free. Thank you.